Good Morning Liberty.
Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston. Across from me is Mr. Charles Chuck Thompson. How's it going this morning, Chuck? It's been an interesting morning.
Living the dream.
Dealing with technical difficulties with our private Discord server. Don't worry, though. It's still worth it. Join gmail.com. Go join the Fed Haters Club. Today's Dumb Bleep of the Week, where we talk about the dumbest things that happened in politics over the last week. We're going to be talking about Nick Fuentes and him coming out shockingly as a nationalist socialist. I had no idea.
Imagine that.
I thought he was just really great on Israel. Jasmine Crockett had such an embarrassing moment. I'm probably going to have to take my headphones out when we do that. Pam Bondi and the DOJ still going to be doing their best to hide as many Epstein files as they possibly can. Don't worry.
Got to make those donors happy.
Yeah. And Trump kind of endorsed the idea of hanging some congressional Democrats. So he did backtrack, though. Another campaign promise broken.
This is far beyond tar and feathering.
It's kind of, okay. I'd say he kind of endorsed that idea. So we're going to get through some of these things today on Dumb Bleep of the Week, as well as many others, depending on how much time these things take us. The first thing we're going to talk about is Nick Fuentes, who, by the way, just has a massive audience. So many people listen to this guy. It's crazy. And I'll admit, every once in a while, one of his rants will come up in my video feed on X. I'll listen to it. It's fine. He's good.
He's good. Extremely talented dude.
He's a great communicator.
Yes.
For sure. The problem is he's got a ton of followers and like a lot of young guys following him, and he's got some really terrible ideas, some really gross ideas, some things that would not make America better at all. And chief among them, the worst thing he's said so far are his economic policies. Because
just get rid of the free market.
Because economic policies are the most important to us. Some of that is a joke, don't worry. But he did this video where he was talking about a compromise between the left and the right so we can truly build a coalition and move together and make America great and all that kind of stuff, America first. And he said the left was going to have to give up on immigration and the right was going to have to give up on the free market. And everyone was like, that sounds like you're in
Germany in the 1930s.
Yeah, it sounds like a Nazi slogan kind of thing to do.
Yeah.
And in fact, it is. It's like he's a national socialist is what he is.
It's almost the exact same premise.
So he did this video, yelling at everyone for getting mad at him for proposing these things. And I'm going to play some of it and we're going to talk about it. Here it is.
What if the far left and far right united as ordinary people on the basis of overthrowing the oligarchs? And I said, in order for this to be possible, there would need to be a compromise. And the compromise is this. The left is going to have to give up their anti-white polemical rhetoric and policies, the grievance politics. They're going to have to give up mass migration. I said, and the right is going to have to give up this illusory free market, the supply side economics, the free trade, all of that. And so what does a compromise look like? And you tell me how this sounds. We have some sort of national effort to have universal education, universal health care. I don't love it. I don't think that's going to work, but I can live with it. And in exchange, we close the borders and we prevent all this mass migration from coming into the United States.
Now, this part's really important because you see what's the most important to him, which is closing the border and stopping people who aren't American from coming into America. And in order to do that, in order to make that compromise, he's willing to give in on destroying America.
Yeah.
That's
he's willing to give up his things that he doesn't, or he's willing to concede that he doesn't really like universal health care and universal education, but hey, if we can close the border, we got enough money. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And the question popping in my head.
And then we should take Canada and Mexico and go on down all the way to South America. We'll just expand the border. You want more people in America, we'll expand the borders of America.
We'll eventually find our home in Argentina. Yeah, no, I just wonder, what does he think is so great about America in the first place? What does he want to? It's we'll have some kind of universal education. I mean, you're talking about free college. We'll get rid of the free market. We'll have some kind of universal health care.
What made America great?
What do you care about America so much for?
What made America the greatest nation on earth, Nick? See, Nick is and I mean, many people have said this. You can tell by this clip. He's a talented guy who is a great orator, let's say. And he lives on the fringe, which is why I think he's amassed a huge following. And but then he takes those fringe ideas and he starts to encapsulate them and speak about them in a different way. But it's the same playbook as a national socialist playbook, where you're kind of putting one nationality, America, first, in the essence of not just in a free market taking care of its citizens first, but as in closing off the borders. No, America's the best ever, and we hate anyone who's not American, essentially. And you start to embrace the same ideas as actual Nazism. Again, this is not me saying we should cancel this guy or ban him or whatever. We should be able to have these open conversations and prove where Nick is wrong, and have this open debate and say okay, I hear your ideas. They've been tried before. It was absolutely disastrous and horrible. And a lot of these folks in this similar camp, because we've met some of them at Politicon and stuff, they want, not only do they want national healthcare, national education, they also want a national religion, and they want, national families that do certain things. And so the people that, some of the fears that people have in moving this direction, I think, are relevant. I think they're women being scared of, being forced to have children and stuff. Some of the ideas that people in this camp, they do think that. And again, he said in this clip, let's give up the free market, ideas so that we can accomplish this one unified goal.
But my thing is, I'm gonna go back to it again, because this is really the part of his. We're only a minute in. I don't even think we have to play anything else from this clip. What makes America so great to you? Why is it so important that you close off the border and just have Americans here? There's, the thing that's different about America is your ability to pursue your own goals and your dreams and be an entrepreneur. You can work for yourself. It is to be free. Sometimes that's hard on people. Sometimes people do really well at it. And
essence of that freedom is free trade.
Yeah. And the people,
the free market.
The thing that he loves so much about the people who are born in America, or the people whose grandparents or great grandparents came here off the boat and kissed the ground. What were they coming here for? Because the government was going to tax you and provide you with some kind of national healthcare system? They certainly weren't coming here because the country was closed off to immigration. What is it they were doing? They were here because you can be the best or worst version of yourself here, and you can make the most or least of it. And it provides the best opportunity for human flourishing that you can have on the planet. And that's what makes America great. And he's moving away. He wants to preserve America, but take away what made America great in the first place. That's these ideas, the things that led to us being here right now. Those are the things that made America this place that he wants to protect. And he wants to take those down just so we can protect it in this little bubble. But protect what?
Yeah, you're getting rid of the thing that you want to protect.
I knew. I mean, I'd seen some clips. I hadn't figured it out yet, but I knew for some reason I didn't like this guy.
And here's the thing. his ideas should be out there so we can refute them like we're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has to realize, like anyone else who's a socialist, he's just a nationalist socialist, like pushing fascism. He's as dangerous as all the other people. You know, I know a lot of right wingers or whatever are buying into this, but it's purely because of the immigration thing and America First thing. But America First for what? For our all powerful government that taxes and provides us with everything we need? That's not going to work.
Yeah, someone in the group is making an argument that he believes that basically Nick believes you can have any economic system as long as you have a homogenous populace. People is greater than economics. I understand that argument. I think the problem is you do that by abdicating moral responsibility, an ethical responsibility, which is that the West has figured out that all humans, all people are created in the image of God. It's not just Americans are created in the image of God.
Mm-hmm.
All people are entitled to certain inalienable rights: the right to life, the right to liberty, the right to property, the right to pursue freely your endeavors. What's enshrined in our Declaration of Independence is a moral framework, and you have to. I'm not saying, and Bernie derives the same thing, where he thinks America can accomplish, Scandinavian socialism. And we know that Scandinavian socialism works because it's a homogenous population. We know that it works.
And because they don't have socialism and they don't treat the rich differently than they treat the middle class in those countries. That's one of the most annoying things. No one who argues for Scandinavian socialism in America would support the policies under Scandinavian socialism, where someone making $80,000 a year pays the exact same tax rate as someone making $1 million a year. That's how because they don't have this "we hate the rich and we must punish them" mentality. Bernie would never get behind that. There's no way he would get behind that. The Bernie Bros wouldn't get behind that. You present them with a list of Scandinavian economic policies, they'll throw it back in your face. They're not going to do it. Their policies, they want to have the policies of Venezuela while having the outcomes of Sweden. And it's not going to happen.
It's not. And I'm also trying to make the point too, though, that I don't think you can make the statement that people are greater than economics insofar as you can manipulate economic policies that deplete the moral framework that affects people. You can't say that people are greater than economics and then say, well, I have an economic policy where we're going to get rid of the free market, because then by effect, you're not adhering to the principle that people are greater than economics, because you're forcing people to do something that isn't free.
Yeah.
Which is the very essence of being a human being created in the image of God. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that it doesn't, on its face, logically, it falls flat.
There's
the only moral framework is to allow humans to be free as long as they don't hurt people and don't take their stuff.
That's the only moral way.
It's the only moral framework. You can't say now I understand, and this is something that I don't like about Trump, is rather than standing on principle, Trump is wanting to play politics. And I think that's in essence what Nick is saying here is oh, well, we have to compromise. Politics is compromise. We have to compromise. Sure. Compromise as long as it doesn't compromise the very moral fabric of what makes America great.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's not a compromise. That's a complete deviation from the founding principles of what makes America great. Here, I have an idea. We can create this utopia as long as we give up the very basis that makes up this utopia.
And when you make these,
which is free market,
when you make these compromises, you're not going to end up with something good. I'll give you an Ayn Rand paraphrase of a quote. She said, "In any compromise between good and evil, it's only evil that can triumph." Because you're only going to take away from the good by compromising with evil, and so it's no longer good after that.
Yeah, that's perfectly explained right there.
All right, that's number one.
All right.
Here's number 2.
30 minutes left for number 2.
Now let's keep making fun of some socialist stuff real quick. So this Congresswoman, I believe, Jen Kiggins, posted this thing where she was going out to the commissary, the grocery store, on base. Likely, I don't think she posted exactly where she was or anything. She says Sunday afternoons are for grocery shopping at the commissary. So thankful to the Defense Commissary Agency for taking care of the military families and veterans in Hampton Roads around the world. And I save an average of $2 to $3 off my favorite Tillamook chocolate, peanut, butter, ice cream, or whatever. I didn't get in the rest of her post. And so she posted this like, hey, I go to this commissary because I'm a veteran, which I'm not even, I think you're supposed to be active duty or retired, I think is how those work. I'm not sure exactly. I go to these and I save money on my grocery stores, and it's so great that they have this. And a lot of the responses, and I'll just show you the biggest one, said, hang on, is that a government-run supermarket selling groceries at cost?
Nope.
The answer is no. And I'm so glad that they decided to make that case, because these commissaries are heavily subsidized by taxpayer dollars.
By you.
Yes. That is not a grocery store selling things at cost. That is a grocery store selling things below cost because they took some of your money and gave it to that grocery store so things would appear cheaper than they actually were. They still cost the same. In fact, they could cost more because they're not buying it as much bulk as some bigger grocery stores will be buying. And so, no, they're not selling at cost. They're selling below cost because they stole money out of your wallet and they gave it to that grocery store. All right? That's the actual answer there. And so that one was done. That's dumb bleep number 2. And I'm in addition to dumb bleep number 2, I'm going to play this little clip of Zohran Mamdani, speaking of government-run grocery stores, because that's who most of the people in response were like, oh, I thought government-run grocery stores wouldn't work. I thought there was no way you could do this. And there's this interesting exchange that Mamdani had where basically they were asking, how are you going to pay for your plan? And he was like, well, we're going to do this. And the guy's like, well, but the state already said they're not going to do that. And he's like, well, that's not important. What's important is we're going to do it. And so I just want to play this exchange.
And the other one, you're talking about fast and free buses and you're meeting with the governor. I've heard you talk about many times that you don't want to take money away from the MTA. You want to put money back in. It's something that she agrees with, right? We don't want to take away money from the MTA. How are you getting that money, the $700 million to make the buses free, into the MTA if she's not?
It's so weird that you would have to get $700 million to make something free.
That's a weird statement.
Why does that involve getting money at all if you're making it free? Oh.
Not for raising taxes.
I think that the two clearest ways to raise that money is through the raising of the state's corporate tax to match that of New Jersey. I think that a lot of this is still a case to be made. Whether it's the corporate tax or whether it's the personal income tax on those who make more than $1 million a year or more, I think that these are the clearest ways. I've also said that if there are other ways to raise this funding, the most important fact is that we fund it, not the question of how we do it, but that we do it.
Okay, so the
how doesn't matter.
No, it's not important how. What he's saying right there is there's still a case to be made. When he says there's still a case to be made, what he means is I promise people a bunch of things to win an election, and there's actually no way that we'll be able to pay for these things because that would have to come from the state government, and the state government says that they're not going to raise those taxes, that I was out there yelling at you guys about taxes being raised on people. And so it's not possible, but what's important is that we do it. And by the way, back on the idea,
do we even need any commentary for this?
No, I don't think that's it.
I don't know if I can add anything to that.
The other part, I wanted to make sure I mentioned due diligence here, where he said, well, we got to get to $700 million so it can be free. This works for people. They'll still hear that and be like, yeah, it's free. And that only works because people think that there is a such thing as a free lunch, that you can actually get something for free and that no one's going to have to pay for it. And they'll even hear, well, yeah, they're going to have to.
Well, by the way,
they're going to pay money for it.
By the way, it actually works out for about 30% of the population.
Because kind of, but yeah.
Because they literally don't pay any taxes.
Yeah, they do pay for it still via inflation, assuming that they
I'm talking like they don't see a direct correlation.
They don't.
Yes.
And that's
and you could
the
even
problem
argue
here.
almost 50% of the population,
So
because
it's around 50% that receive something.
yeah, or don't pay anything.
Mm-hmm.
In essentially.
Yeah, it is like 30% that, well, no, it's 20% that actually receive more back than they pay in.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like another 20% that don't pay anything. And there's more on top of that that do pay some, but then they get stuff back too.
That is so minuscule.
And,
yeah.
and then
It's
we're
close
30,
to 50%.
and we're $38 trillion in debt.
So for
All right.
them, they're like, oh yeah, get the they see that and they're like, well, how are you going to get the $700 million to make it free? And they see it as like, oh yeah, the rich have the $700 million that's going to make this free.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's free for us. We don't pay anything towards this. It's the rich people.
Yeah, and that continuous idea that you can get something for free and it's not going to affect you is why so many people think that you can have all these programs. Like, even if it's coming from the rich, you have to ask, like, well, where did the rich get their money? Well, they got their money by producing and selling things to you. And so they're still going to want to make the same profit margin. You're not going to outlaw profit unless you want to die shortly after. They're still going to want the same profit margin. So you take the money from them, and what they're going to do, they only get money that they made off of you by producing things that you wanted and they sold to you. And so where did their money came from? It came from you. And then they're just going to go get more of yours because they still want the same profit margin.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. And some socialists will hear that and say, yeah, exactly. The rich money came from us, and so we should take it back. Like, no, they're going to take more if that's how you look at it. They're still going to get that money. It's still going to happen. The prices are going to go up. And then they're not going to have enough. They're going to have more debt that they're going to have to print, or they're going to have to borrow more. It's going to cause interest rates to go up. And then everyone's complaining about how expensive the rates are on houses and stuff, and it costs everyone money. Next thing, number 3, this is Jasmine Crockett. I'm just going to play this clip from CNN of Caitlin Collins asking Jasmine Crockett about this moment. You'll see the clip, but she went up on the House floor and she was talking about how Republicans were also funded by Jeffrey Epstein. So there's been stuff coming out that Jeffrey Epstein had maybe given a lot of money to different Democrats over the years. So she got up there and she blew the lid wide open on this thing. Turns out he gave money to all these Republicans as well. All right. So there's your backstory.
You talked about...
Have you seen this?
I haven't.
All right, here's your backstory.
Republicans taking money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what you said.
Props to her for going and talking about this. You'll see why later.
Who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that you
I know.
All right, so just to be clear, there's more than one person in the world named Jeffrey Epstein. And one of them happens to be a Republican who has donated to many different Republicans in the past. And all her crack staff did was look up if Jeffrey Epstein had ever donated to Republicans. It turned out, yeah, and they were like, also there's like 8 others, but here's one that did a lot. And it wasn't the one that you're thinking about. Now, you might think she'd come out and be like, well, that is embarrassing, and I fired the staff member who found that information, but she did nothing wrong. She said what she said.
This is where people that don't know how to use AI, when they use AI to comb through these things, and they don't know how to clarify, or
you got to click. You got to click on the links.
Yeah,
you have to click on the links.
You have to look things up.
Yeah. It's good to get that synopsis. We're going to use a synopsis for one of these later, but you got to click on the links and back it up.
Never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein, just so that people understand when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled, and that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says, is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate.
Yeah, but people might see that and say, well, you're trying to make it sound like he took money from
I did not know.
A registered sex offender.
No, but I literally did not know. When you search FEC files, and that's what I had my team to do, I texted them and I said, listen, we're going up. They are saying that she took donations.
Right, but someone might say, well, your team should have done the homework to make sure it wasn't the convicted sex trafficker.
Within 20 minutes, you could not find that out, not from just doing a quick search on FEC. So, number one, I made sure that I was clear that it was a Jeffrey Epstein, but I never said that it was specifically that Jeffrey Epstein.
This is bringing up trauma for me. Nate, you didn't warn me, you know, and I know I'm a little biased, but is this not the epitome of 100 women versus accountability? Is this not like
basically, yeah.
Is this not a master class in gaslighting and manipulation that some women seem to be so good at?
Some women, yeah, not all of them, but there are some. Yeah.
Oh, from the ladies in the group, they're saying it is good.
Oh, well, hey, we confirmed it.
Yeah.
You know,
shame on men for letting her get this far in her political career.
I'm taking
and I like what Magoo said here. Quote, you heard what I said wrong.
Yeah. I'm taking a look at how many. Oh, okay. This guy seems good. This guy Adolf Hitler did some good things. Wow. I think everyone should look into more about him.
What do you find?
The one in St. Louis, Charlie. I didn't say that one. I just was talking about that guy clearly.
You said Adolf Hitler. I didn't say who it was.
Oh my God.
The funniest, one of the funniest parts about that is she's like, I did not know. It's like, okay, then why say that?
Don't say anything.
Why say it on the floor? I did not intentionally mislead anyone. Yeah, that's actually exactly what you did. You did intentionally mislead people.
I just saw in the group after I said this, this guy Adolf Hitler did some good things. It said clip. Someone needs to cut that for sure. I recommend it. Okay, that's number 3. Unless you got something else.
No, I think that one speaks for itself.
Most of these speak for themselves. This one might take a little bit of explanation.
It did bring up some trauma.
It did.
That I have to deal with still. So
yeah, it
was funny, but now I'm in a bit of a sour mood.
It'll all be over soon.
Yeah,
one way or another. Okay, I mentioned at the beginning of the show that Trump had talked about potentially just throwing that concepts of a plan of hanging some congressional Democrats. And so we're going to talk about that situation. Now, he has already said that's they do not actually have a plan to do this. So everyone can calm down about it. And I'm going to give you a little bit of both sides of this argument, although I think Trump went a little too far with some of this stuff. I'm going to give you a little bit of both sides of the argument, even though I come down more strongly on one of them. So Democrats, some elected Democrats, released a video where they were encouraging some members of the armed forces to disobey unlawful orders. And that's actually the extent of the video. I don't even think they specifically say what orders, but just reminding them to disobey unlawful orders. I'm just going to play some of the video here.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us, You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army, or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Don't give up the ship. You can, you must refuse illegal orders. Now, when I hear that video, I mean, honestly, like, on its face, yes, that is true. I think that is a principle that I hope the military would hold to. Members of the military would hold to.
That's anyone
all the time.
In fact, that's what they ruled in the Nuremberg trials.
Yeah, that's literally. You can't just say I was following orders,
right?
And so we're going to go through a little bit of that. Now, they weren't exactly clear about what the unlawful orders were in this video. And so that leaves it up for interpretation. Could be the Venezuela stuff, bombing the boats and all that. Maybe doing stuff in the United States, like crowd control or whatever, which they've only like protected federal buildings, I believe, is the only thing that they've actually been asked to do one time. So don't know exactly what they're talking about. My immediate thing goes to the Venezuela situation, because when I think about something that I believe would be deemed to be unlawful, it would be the Venezuela situation. It's clearly Congress has the power to declare war. We have a thing called the War Powers Act that was passed in 1973. It lays out three ways if the United States is under attack, the president can immediately introduce troops into hostilities. If United States service members are under attack anywhere, the president can introduce them into hostilities, or in the event of an evacuation from like an embassy or another country or something like that, the troops can be introduced into hostilities. There's 60 days from the introduction of the troops to hostilities that they have to get authorization from Congress. They can throw another 30-day extension on top of that. If it's a super duper emergency. Yeah, the only other way outside of declaring war and inside of those 60 to 90 days is if there is an authorization of use of military force, which we did have for all of our Middle East endeavors, even though we're libertarians and we've talked about these illegal unconstitutional wars. The AUMF was written so broadly that in a court of law, probably deemed to be illegal, considering it would be anyone who's affiliated with or a member of or Al Qaeda. There's no geographical location limits on it, nothing like that.
You mean deemed to be legal? Deemed to be legal.
Deemed to be illegal. I say illegal.
You said illegal. Yeah.
Oh, legal.
Deemed to be legal.
And so I would say right now, come down on the side of what's the actions taken against the boats coming from Venezuela. Probably illegal. Okay.
I thought of it when I saw this. I thought of it as Trump's on the road to tyranny, like he's the next Hitler. Mm-hmm. So we need to send a message to the troops to let them know, like, hey, if you start getting Hitler type orders, make sure you defy those. That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah.
Trump is Hitler to these people.
He is. He always has been. All right. So Trump said some stuff in response to this. He said, "This is really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors. Lock them up, ? President DJT. Cat Turd said it's 100% sedition because Trump said it was. Let's see. Trump had also posted, it's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. We won't have a country anymore. An example must be set. Just before they recorded that video, it was always the case that troops are supposed to disobey unlawful orders. That was it. They didn't rewrite the Uniform Code of Military Justice or anything for that video. It was the case before that, and all the troops are supposed to know that. Anyhow,
in fact, they take an oath to the Constitution to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yes.
So
yeah, and by the way, their oath is not to the president. They are supposed to follow lawful orders from the commander in chief. Their oath is to the Constitution of the U.S. Obviously, clearly, that's the case. He did also post out seditious behavior punishable by death.
But then there's a done by Gavin Newsom here. That says the President of the United States of America just called for the death of Democratic lawmakers. This man is sick in the head. He didn't say we should kill them.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just let everyone know, like the Democrats were letting people know, that you're supposed to disobey unlawful orders. He also said, just so you guys know, seditious behavior, actually it would be treasonous behavior, it would be punishable by death. I don't think sedition is punishable by death. It could be wrong.
I haven't read the Sedition Act.
I don't think sedition is punishable by death, but I could be wrong on that. He then re-truthed this post, which says, hang them, George Washington would.
Now, that's a little more egregious. So
Okay.
Gavin Newsom could reply to that one.
Getting close to the line. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with this man. And then I just saw this in our break between our failed attempt at doing an episode earlier this morning and this one. That 0 hour page says, there's no such thing as an illegal order if your superior tells you to do it.
I don't think that that's true.
It's not up to anyone to decide. The order is given and you obey it. That comes later. Now, okay, there is a such thing as an illegal order. But I will also say it's not always black and white whether or not something is illegal. But before we get to that, I want to show you this clip from Newsmax where this guy, who I guess was out there with Chris Kyle, the sniper dude, talked about how they almost got killed because they were, I don't know, following the rules of engagement, it sounds like. Let me get to this one. Here we go.
The U.S. military considered turning us over, U.S. soldiers, over to the Iraqi court system so they could prosecute us where we'd likely be hung ourselves. Oh, you didn't hear about this story. Hold my beer. It's in this book. This is the story of how stupid political clickbait videos like Slotkin's have real consequences. You remember this guy from the movie American Sniper? This guy right here that was going around drilling holes in children's faces? In 2009, my platoon caught that guy in real life, the Butcher of Fallujah. He was also the man responsible for hanging 4 American contractors, one of which was a SEAL brother of mine, whose body was lit on fire, dangling from a bridge by his neck. My team caught that guy. We were authorized to use lethal force, and we exercised restraint to bring him back alive for the betterment of the mission, because we were one part, and we did it at great risk to ourselves. And because of orders, so he could be questioned by the CIA and save more lives. Imagine if we had violated that order. After all, we knew he killed one of our own, and he had a gun when we apprehended him. So, honestly, Democrats, don't ever lecture me and my people on restraint and decorum. And when we brought him back, the same people who sent us on that mission, they turned around and court-martialed us for abusing him in custody, which we clearly did not do, which was
my main question on this is, what does this have to do with whether or not we should be bombing random boats in Venezuela? There's no troops in danger in this. He's going to use this whole story right here to tell you about how these guys,
the United States of America is in danger.
They risked their lives, and these guys almost died trying to bring this guy back, and then they still got in trouble anyway, and people went after him because of how they treated the prisoner or whatever. And none of that has anything to do with a boat going across the water from Venezuela. It's not even going to America, by the way. It doesn't have enough gas to do that. All right. And it's not firing on any Navy vessels that shouldn't even be there in the first place. It's not happening. But to take this and be like, oh, see, if we do what Democrats want, those men on those ships are going to die. It's essentially what I'm getting from this guy
or
right
at best,
now.
they're going to be charged.
All right, so that's another dumb part. But let's get to some of the other side of this because it's not as easy
that guy's
as it might
story
sound.
sounds pretty cool, though.
Yeah, could make it into a movie.
Yeah,
could do that. So yeah, I did use the synopsis on this because it was better than reading to you this Uniform Code of Military Justice, page 37 that you can find it on. So, but I did go and I went through this thing. So Articles 90, 91, 92 punish willful disobedience of lawful commands or failure to obey lawful orders or regulations. These articles do not require obedience to unlawful orders. In fact, obeying a clearly unlawful order can itself be a crime if it involves war crimes or violations of the law of armed conflict. Let's see here. I want to get down to the flip side of this, where they might talk about the dangerous side of this and people getting in trouble. Service members are trained from basic training onward that they must disobey illegal orders. Surveys and studies have shown that a strong majority of troops understand this obligation. If an order's legality is ambiguous, if it's not obviously illegal, for instance, if your superior officer says, see that guy right there that's on his knees and zip tied right now? You go over there, shoot that guy in the head after you murder his family. Okay.
Well,
so,
that would actually be manifestly.
That's
illegal.
what I'm saying. That's my example. Like when you get told that order, you can say, well, that's manifestly illegal, sir. Okay. And you do it anyway. The default is to obey and challenge it later through the chain of command. So they're saying that the default is to go and obey. Like it could be, listen, it's not like every service member is a legal scholar. We don't even know for sure. There's still a debate amongst millions of people in the U.S. whether or not what Trump is doing, say, off the coast of Venezuela is legal. The White House is arguing it is. Other people are arguing it's not. Different courts could come down with different conclusions on this thing. And so is a service member that's on a boat in the Caribbean supposed to be like, well, I was just looking through this case law right here, and it does, in fact, look like this is an illegal order. They're probably going to default to following it at that time because there's a high probability it would get ruled legal anyway. So I just want to point out that it's not like as easy as in white and black as it might seem.
Yeah.
In this instance.
The one paragraph you didn't read here, which I think is important, is the court-martial manual and longstanding case law state that an order is presumed lawful, but a service member has an affirmative duty, has a duty to disobey orders that are manifestly or palpably illegal. Examples being obviously contrary to the Constitution, U.S. law, or international law, such as orders to commit murder, torture, or other crimes.
And that's why they've never done anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. But once again, flip-flop Donald. President Trump does not want to execute members of Congress. The White House says. Yeah. Just so you know.
Let me just be clear.
Now this is like the only post I've seen. This is from this leading report page, and I can't confirm or deny. I didn't go further than that. I mean, this is a page that after Jack Dorsey retweeted us one time, acted like Jack Dorsey had just given a speech endorsing Rand Paul and Thomas Massie for president and vice president. And
I did see, I think, the press conference where the secretary did.
Caroline
did say that the president didn't want to execute members of Congress.
Yeah,
so.
He's going to have someone else do it. Okay.
Maybe that truth account.
Yeah. I think we're just going to stick to the 5 for Dumb Bleep Part 1. And then we're going to finish it when we come back next week.
All right.
That's what we're going to do because I want to make sure we have time and not have to rush. The Epstein thing. So that was number 4. Here's number 5. We got so many good things. I got at least like 9 more that could be in this today. But I wanted to hit some of the greatest hits today. And then we're gonna do the others on another date. So the Epstein Files Transparency Act was signed into law. It won handily, 427-1, and then unanimous consent in the Senate. In fact, they got unanimous consent before the bill had even been brought over to the Senate, which is just, they didn't even want that thing in there. They got unanimous consent immediately. And then Trump did sign it in a private signing ceremony, which is interesting because normally, I wouldn't say normally, you would often see Trump do, kind of a grand signing of something like the Big Beautiful Bill or ending the government shutdown or what have you. Plenty of other laws that he was such a big champion of, not like the normal appropriation stuff that they just do, throughout the year. But, a good big piece of legislation that's got a lot of news attention around it. You would typically see Trump out there making a speech, have people behind him that are affected by this law. Instead, he signed it at night with no one there and then just truthed out.
Didn't hand it to anybody.
No. Then just truthed out that he had signed it. So that was it. One of the more annoying things about this, because we know how this all played out, I want everyone to remember, you remember those clips of Trump going, excuse Epstein? Are you still talking about it? Jeffrey Epstein?
That creep?
That creep? Or talking about how like only really bad people were still interested in this story. I don't remember exactly. There weren't even 5 people on both sides. It was just really bad people that cared about this story. Like that was it. Fighting against this as hard as he can, calling it a Democrat hoax for a long time. And then it becomes obvious that Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna's discharge petition, is going to get the 218 required votes, and that it is going to pass because people are going to have to put their names on the record, and it's going to pass. It's either going to narrowly pass or like everyone's going to vote for it, except for one guy. And so once that became clear, Trump's tune completely changed on the whole thing.
Now, could all of that been set up on purpose?
Sure.
It's
Of course
possible.
it could have.
I mean, he plays 7D chess.
They were dragging him kicking and screaming the whole way, making the Democrats push even harder for this release.
The whole thing against Thomas Massie is all a ploy.
The whole thing. You should see their real text messages back and forth.
Soon he's going to back off Adelson.
This was all a trap.
A campaign and to primary him. And it'll be a glorious victory.
Now, listen, that could be the case, and you could claim 7D anometry here by Trump if it also weren't the case that he could have just waved his finger and declassified and released all of these documents without the whole thing, which he could have done. But he didn't do that. He went kicking and screaming. It did not take a law to disclose these files. So the whole thing, well, this was all a ruse to get Democrats' support behind the discharge petition to force them to. No, he could have just had them release it. If it was just a bad day for Democrats because it got released, that's what would have happened. Instead, he called it a hoax the whole time and talked down the people who wanted to do it.
Not the whole time.
So
in the beginning, they had the phase 1 binders and pictures on the White House lawn. And, everyone in the camp was talking about how they were going to release it. And then all of a sudden they flipped. And now they flopped.
Now, part of this comes from just a couple examples here. This guy, Derek Evans, has a pretty big page. He says, anyone else find it funny Trump tricked them into demanding the Epstein files be released?
That's the theory I just went over.
Yeah. Cat Turd says, the Epstein files will be released soon, and it'll be the biggest backfire on the Democrat Party in history. I promise they're in a panic right now. Now,
How does Cat Turd know all this stuff?
I don't know. As I just said, well, it's easy to know if what you know is that whatever this guy does is always correct.
Yeah.
So, what he said can't be true, because if it's just going to be a big backfire on the Democrat Party, then Trump would have just released the files to begin with.
In 2020.
Yeah.
So that he could have
just
won
already
the
happened.
presidency in 2020.
So, no. This is not what happened. Trump likes to be on the correct side of 70-30 or 80-20 positions, policies. And he found himself on the wrong side. He found himself on the 20 side of this issue. And he immediately, at the last minute, jumped over to the 80 side so these people could post out that he was always on the 80 side of the issue. And you guys are just panic cans.
Now, my theory is, because I've seen some of the emails and things that have already been released or hacked by Iran or whoever it was. I saw something interesting last night where they made a mistake in a redaction where this long email thread happened to be with one of the important members of the government of Kuwait. And it appears that some of these emails, and so that what I'm saying is based on some circumstantial evidence that I have seen so far, it would appear that the theory that Jeffrey Epstein is somehow an intelligence asset either for Israel or America or both or whatever seems to be leaning in that direction. And perhaps the flip for the Trump administration to say, there's nothing to see here, is because really there is a huge influence by Israel to keep some things under wrap.
Well, they have to protect sources and methods.
Yeah, exactly. So that, and then obviously with the force of the vote, they had to flop because, they can't adhere to their political donors based on the law that was getting passed. There was no way Trump could veto it. It had, one of the cleanest veto overrides in
that was
American
not
law
problem.
history.
Yeah.
And, we got to say here, kudos to Thomas Massey for getting one of his laws signed.
Yeah. By
none other than the president who calls him a do-nothing congressman.
Yeah, I know.
Could you, imagine that
That's
victory.
why he didn't do a signing ceremony.
I would hang this law up in my office.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the president who called me a do-nothing congressman who doesn't get any laws passed signed the law.
He had to sit at the desk.
He signed the law that I created.
It's pretty good.
That's like the ultimate.
Then there's some stuff. Laura Loomer says President Trump says he told House Republicans to vote to release the Epstein files because he has nothing to hide. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trader Greene, sorry, spent her whole weekend going on leftist news shows bashing Trump, insinuating that he's a pedophile. She's going to hell for this. And to believe, so you still have to believe that up until it was clear the discharge petition was going to pass, that Trump was still going to sign the law or recommend releasing the file. The case is he was not going to do that, or he would have done it. And so, and then she goes a little bit further in critiquing people like MTG and Thomas Massey and all that, and just ask questions about stuff. So she says, serious question and serious answers only. How did Representative Thomas Massey's wife die? Is there a police report? Is there an autopsy? Why is it such a mystery? I'd like to know. I find it so bizarre, and I always have. Now there's a much younger woman in the picture.
Oh, God.
And so I don't like you. You went after Trump. I'm going to insinuate that you murdered your wife.
Does this mean Laura Loomer is going to go to hell for this? That should be the comment. You're going to hell for this, Laura.
Oh my God, her face would melt so fast. Okay, so we're going to go into the next part, which is Pam Bondi in this. And then we'll get some voting going for these 5, and those will go up against part 2 early next week. I want to remind everyone of the Justice Department memo that came out on July 7th of this year. For some reason, they signed the big, beautiful bill on July 4th, and someone decided to release the Justice Department memo just a few days later. Like, they got no positive airplay from the big, beautiful bill, unless they wanted to kill the negative airplay from the big, beautiful bill about SNAP benefits or Medicaid or whatever it was. I don't know. But anyhow, they say, this is from July 7th. As part of our commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and the FBI have conducted an exhaustive review of the investigative holdings relating to Jeffrey Epstein. To ensure that the review is thorough, the FBI conducted digital searches of its databases, hard drives, and network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, locked cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas where responsive material may have been stored. These searches uncovered a significant amount of material, including more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence. The systematic review revealed no incriminating client list, There was also no credible evidence found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Let's see. Let me go to that end. While we have labored to provide the public with maximum information regarding Epstein and ensure examination of any evidence in the government's possession, it is the determination of the Department of Justice and the FBI that no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted.
Now, as a reminder, they started this off by saying, as part of our commitment to transparency, we're not releasing anything else.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we need. So then there's an issue. This leads us to where we are right now. As part of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, you will find under C, permitted withholdings. Let's see. In carrying out subsection A, like releasing, the Attorney General may withhold from publication any record, document, communication, or investigative material, or redact any severable portion of any record, document, communication, or investigative material that, C, would jeopardize an active federal investigation or ongoing federal prosecution if the withholding or redaction is narrowly tailored and temporary. They then also have something down here for declassification. And of course, this can only be done in a manner that protects national security. Protecting national security is something that you do so you can say that anything could damage national security or risk national security. It's also to protect people from knowing, because it would hurt their feelings, to protect people from knowing how just god-awful your intelligence agencies are and all the terrible things they do around the globe. Remember that video when they were saying you have a duty to disobey unlawful orders? The main lady doing that was a former CIA officer.
Yeah.
She never did any unlawful orders, though, I bet.
Probably not.
It never happened. Which leads us to then, just before the discharge petition is signed, the weekend beforehand, Donald Trump announcing, I will be asking AG Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, JP Morgan Chase, and many other people and institutions to determine what was going on with them and him, which then leads us to Pam Bondi's interview yesterday. Whew. That was all laid out really well, Charlie. You're right.
That was perfection.
You're right.
That's why I've been so silent.
You just let me. You didn't want to interrupt my flow, huh?
Let him eat.
Okay.
Madam Attorney General, do you mean that you will provide all the files by 30 days?
We will follow the law. The law passed both chambers last evening. It has not yet been signed, but we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
Madam Attorney General, the DOJ statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads.
She's
if there are
not
any
a good
victims,
liar.
we encourage all victims to come forward, and we will continue to provide maximum transparency under the law.
Wow, she's not a good liar. Poor
she's
thing.
Bad at this.
Oh,
yeah. She's really
information. For the new information.
Just watching Kash Patel stand back there makes me so pissed.
Yeah,
man. After all the apparent grifting he just did leading up to becoming the director of the FBI, like his career doing that is over. His career after this is going to be being like a pundit or a show host on Fox News or something. I don't
understand what what the deep state has on these people, because you I try to put myself in their shoes. It's like, okay, I am someone who stands on principle, and I would be shouting from the rooftops the same thing that they were prior to getting into government. And then what happened? Like, well, I want to know what happens when you get there. Like, you get there and it's like, do you have a meeting with the devil? It's like, if you don't follow suit, we'll for sure drag you to hell.
It could be something as simple as, hey, I know you want to do this. It's up to you. I will murder your entire family first, and then I'll murder you. And it's not
going
to
to
be pretty.
look like an accident.
It's going to look like an accident. It's going to look like, actually, it might look like you killed your family, something like that. And we're going to put a bunch of pedophile stuff on your computer after that. And that's what will happen if you tell anyone about this. There you go. Yeah.
Something has to happen.
I would be less sympathetic to this one. They're like, well, this information is going to compromise so many people and people in so many banks and institutions and the government that the entire system will crumble. And that might sound really cool to you, but just so you know, hundreds of thousands of people will die after this information comes out. Actually, World War III could start, for all you guys know, when it's actually released, all the things that we've done. So is it actually worth, or are your principles actually worth potentially killing millions of people to get justice for these 1,000 victims for this thing that happened 15 years ago? Or would you rather try to make sure it doesn't happen in the future?
So it's your job to keep this house of cards afloat.
Yeah. Or they're all in on it. That's another option. But I am like, if you truly believe the entire conspiracy and the Epstein didn't kill himself and the blackmail operation and Israel and all these countries and all that, there's no reason to not also believe those same people will just murder your entire family right before they murder you if you release this information. It's an easy way to describe why these people will go to these lengths.
Yeah.
They
could be like, you just see what happened to JFK?
Yeah.
Even being the president doesn't protect you.
Yeah.
From what we're willing to do.
That was back then. I almost killed you 3 times this morning, So it's it's very possible. I don't have super high hopes for this. I hope we're pleasantly surprised. It does seem like Trump wants to go after Democrats.
What new information did you get, Pam Bondi, that the law was passed?
Yeah, that's the new information. Information.
We got new.
It was other information.
It was information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys.
Oh, that's what it was. Information.
Yeah,
new information
happened. Yeah, and so we got to reopen these. Now, okay, I have one more charitable thing. By the way, I don't believe all these charitable things I'm saying. I'm just trying to give people an out. Okay. The other charitable part, somewhat charitable, would be that they realize they have to release the files, and they also realize that they said there was nothing to see here, just like a few months ago, and they're going to look really bad. And so they're going to reopen investigations and act like they just found a bunch of crazy stuff in their investigation to say, oh, good thing we reopened that as an investigation. Look at all this crazy stuff we found, and they'll act like they didn't already have it beforehand. That kind of, there's another thing for you. They got to try and back up their previous lies, that kind of thing. Or we're all completely wrong about this, and it's just a big list of innocent people going to parties.
Yeah. That just happen to have underage girls.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
That would be
on an island.
That would be something. It really
would. By the way, will you read that real quick, what you just had up on screen? I think this is part of the dumb here. It's from Donald Trump, truthing out here. Jeffrey Epstein, who was charged by the Trump Justice Department in 2019, not the Democrats, was a lifelong Democrat, donated thousands of dollars to Democrat politicians. Wouldn't it be millions?
Yeah.
And was deeply associated with many well-known Democrat figures such as Bill Clinton, who traveled on his plane 26 times, Larry Summers, who just resigned from many boards, including Harvard, sleazebag political activist Reid Hoffman, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who asked Epstein to donate to his campaign after Epstein was charged.
By the way, I saw that email. It looked like, I haven't dug any further into it. The Hakeem Jeffries thing looked like it was an email list email that went like it was just a blanket template email
to the list
to the email list. Yeah. So that's the only one I've seen anyway.
Democrat Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett and many more. Perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed, because I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files. As everyone knows.
Yeah.
As you all well know, I, Trump, King, Savior, asked Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune to pass this bill in the House and the Senate, respectively. I called them and said, hey, get this done. This is a priority for MAGA.
Post haste.
And it was only because of this request the votes were almost unanimous in favor of passage at my direction. The Department of Justice has already turned over close to 50,000 pages of documents to Congress. This is so frustrating because there's going to be a lot of people who just believe that.
Yeah.
And by the way, this took Thomas Massey getting completely shit on.
Yeah.
And his political career threatened.
In fact, it's going to cost all of us a lot of money because now we got to donate to his campaign.
Yeah.
I don't remember if the primary thing, that could have just been from the Big Beautiful Bill, not the before the Epstein discharge thing. But
yeah.
Who knows?
So anyway, I just thought that was frustrating.
Yeah, it is definitely frustrating for sure. Now, let me see if I can tell you guys these off the top of my head. Let me get to it. Oh, there we go. Number 1, Fuentes on economics. Number 2, the grocery stores / Mamdani. Number 3, Jasmine Crockett.
I think we have a winner already.
Yeah. Number 4, disobey orders. Number 5, Epstein cover-up. And as I said, we got a lot more.
Crockett may win Dumb Bleep of the Year for that.
She typically, I've noticed that the people in our group are fairly racist.
Did you guys vote for her for the dumbest thing because she's black? Is that why?
Like, no, that's not why we voted for her. That's just why it was the dumbest thing. No, that's not the case. I mean, that was genuinely dumb. She wins pretty often when she's in there, though.
She's
got a high win percentage.
We don't even
unlike other black women.
We don't need a count or nothing. I mean, this is
Yeah.
overwhelming majority.
This is basically unanimous consent is what we just decided on for Jasmine Crockett.
It looks like we had one Craig Higgins in the group here.
Clay Higgins.
Clay Higgins, sorry.
Oh, Craig. This is Craig.
All right. Well, if you all enjoyed today, if you enjoyed part 1 of Dumb Bleep of the Week, then share it around. Leave us a rating review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We say that because it's important. Those ratings and reviews that you all kindly leave helps the podcast algorithms suggest our show to more people. And that's helpful in bringing more people into practical liberty movement.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something free you can do. It doesn't take much time. Leave us a kind word, 5 stars. It's pretty simple. We appreciate when you do that. If you want to support us monetarily, you can sign up for the Fed Haters Club. It's as little as $7 a month. That's basically nothing. And you get access to the Fed Haters Club Discord server, which we have lots of information on. You get the pre-show. You can send us direct messages. I'll answer them. Nate won't. So send me, and then I'll convey that to Nate, and we'll get your question answered somehow. Costco from the Fed Haters Club gives out my personal cell phone number pretty much at least once a week on average. So you'll have that. Not that you need it, but I'm just saying there's perks to being in the Fed Haters Club.
Having your phone number is a perk.
Sign up. You won't be disappointed. Visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support the show. That way we're supported. You get something in return. It's kind of a win-win.
ProLonLife.com/GML.
Oh, yeah, we're doing that again. ProLonLife.com. One of the greatest websites I've ever seen.
Yeah.
ProLonLife.com/GML. It's a great page.
I know.
Go check it out. Do all those things, and we'll be back for part 2. Until then, I hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.